Have you ever wondered why, despite all your effort, you still feel trapped in an invisible cycle that limits your freedom, fulfillment, and growth? Maybe the real prison isn't around you, but inside your mind. The most dangerous mistake you can make isn't failure. It's not missing an opportunity. It's something much quieter and more insidious, a seemingly harmless thought pattern that's eating away at your ability to make decisions, act confidently, and build the life you truly deserve. You may believe you're in control. After all, you read personal development books, watch motivational videos, and study success strategies and growth mindsets. But still, at crucial moments, you hesitate, you doubt, you freeze. And that's where the mental error that Napoleon Hill identified as one of the greatest robbers of personal freedom comes in: the victim mentality. This mental pattern makes you see obstacles as insurmountable barriers, criticism as personal attack, and the world as a battlefield where you always start at a disadvantage. And the worst part, it disguises itself as realism, as prudence, as protection. But in reality, it is distancing you from your own leadership, your autonomy, your mental and emotional freedom. Napoleon Hill was clear when he stated that true success begins in the mind. Everything you want to achieve, wealth, purpose, influence, personal fulfillment, begins with mastering your own thinking. It's not just about thinking positively, but about developing a deep awareness of as you think, because think like this, and mainly how to change this. And perhaps right now, you are facing exactly this dilemma. You know you have potential. You feel that you were born for something greater, but you continue to act as if you were limited by external circumstances. The truth is that your mind has been trained for years to think in a limited, reactive, and conditioned way. And until this changes, no technique, no book, no video will completely free you. But here's the thing: this mental prison can be broken. There is a way, and that way starts with clarity. Clarity about who you are, where you want to go, and what thoughts need to be replaced with powerful convictions aligned with your goal. This is the kind of clarity that the greatest leaders have developed, and it's the kind of clarity that you can develop too, starting now. You're about to discover how to correct this mental error, and more than that, you'll learn how to rebuild your mindset based on Napoleon Hill's timeless principle, applying a practical, objective, and transformative strategy that few people know about, but that all great achievers use, even without realizing. Now, if you are ready to finally take control of your life, your mind, and free yourself once and for all from the thinking that is sabotaging, stay with me, because in the next step, I will show you exactly how to identify and replace this error so that you can begin to experience real, consistent, and unshakable mental freedom. Now that you understand the hidden power that your mind exerts over your freedom, I want to invite you to be part of a select group of people who refuse to live on autopilot. People who have decided to take control of their own lives, shape their own destiny, and build a mindset that is free from limits. If this is your case, and if you are with me this far, I want you to prove to yourself and to the universe that you are committed to this transformation. Write one of these phrases here in the comments: I command my mind, or my freedom starts now. These words are not just declaration, they are commitment. They are symbols that you are taking a leadership role in your own journey. And yes, I read every comment, and I make sure to leave a little heart for each person who takes a courageous stand, because I know that this represents an important step in your personal development journey. When you comment, you're not just reinforcing what you've just learned, you're also connecting with an entire community of people who, like you, are seeking to grow, evolve, and achieve success with purpose. You're never alone. This is your space for growth, empowerment, and personal leadership. And if this content made sense to you, if something here really touched, like this video now, and if you are not yet part of the channel, subscribe. This is where we continue this journey together with clarity, focus, practical strategies to achieve mental freedom, financial success, and true fulfillment. This is your moment. Don't put off what can transform your life now. Let's be honest. What's really stopping you from achieving your biggest dreams? I'd bet it's not what you think. Let's find out together. There's a silent, discreet, almost imperceptible trap that operates every day inside your mind. It doesn't make noise, it doesn't shout, it doesn't show itself clearly, but it's there, present in every postponed decision, in every shelved dream, in every time you keep quiet when you should act. This trap is nothing more than a mental pattern, a thinking error, a habit of interpreting life in a limited way. And the most dangerous thing, all of this happens without you realizing. While you may believe that lack of time, money, support, luck, or opportunities are responsible for your results, the truth is much deeper. The biggest obstacle between you and the freedom you desire, be it financial, emotional, or even spiritual freedom, is the way you have trained your mind to see reality. And the most shocking thing? This way of thinking was not chosen by you. It was conditioned over the years. Family, school, society, traumas, experiences, everything has shaped a mental programming that today dictates your decisions, your fears, and even your limits. You may be stuck in a mental loop where every challenge becomes a reason to give up. Every criticism becomes a blow to your self-esteem. Every failure becomes proof that you weren't cut out for this. And in this cycle, your mind starts repeating phrases like, "I can't do it. This isn't for me. Maybe one day. I'm not good enough." Realize it's not the world that's telling you that. It's you. That's the trap. Napoleon Hill was right when he said that the man who masters his own mind can master anything. And that is exactly where the key to your freedom lies, in the mastery of your thought. As long as you allow unconscious patterns to rule your life, you will continue to move in circles, always returning to the same point of dissatisfaction, frustration, and paralysis. The cruelest prison has no visible bar. It is formed by the repetition of ideas like, "What will others think? What if I fail? What if something goes wrong?" And you may not even realize, but every day you trade your freedom for security, your ambition for acceptance, and your authenticity for fear. And this costs you dearly, very dearly. It costs you energy, time, achievements. It costs you the life you know you are capable of living, but that you do not yet have the courage to claim. How many times have you caught yourself holding back from taking action because you were afraid of being judged by others? How many brilliant ideas have been left on paper because you thought it wasn't the right time yet? How many dreams have been silenced inside you because someone said it won't work? This pattern needs to be broken, and the first step to this is awareness. You need to recognize that these thoughts are not you. They were placed there. They are like poorly configured software running on an incredible system that is your mind. The problem is that, over time, you start to get confused with them. You start to believe that you really aren't capable, that you really don't deserve it, that it's not the right time. And when that happens, you become hostage to a programming that doesn't represent you. And if nothing changes, everything stays the same. But if you're here, it's because deep down, you know there's something bigger waiting for you. You feel it. You want more. You want true freedom. And I'm not just talking about having money or free time. I'm talking about a mental freedom, an unshakable mind, an identity strong enough not to give in to fear, doubt, or the need for approval. The truth is that most people live with a bent mind, conditioned to seek validation all the time. They live in fear of failing, but even more so, in fear of shining too much. Because shining requires responsibility. It requires breaking the mold. And that, for a mind trained in self-sabotage, is terrifying. But what if I told you that this prison can be broken, that there is a way to rebuild your mental structure so that it works for you, not against you? What if you could reprogram your thoughts to act with clarity, courage, and consistency, even in the face of fear? Imagine for a moment what your life would be like if, instead of retreating from challenges, you moved forward. If, instead of doubting yourself, you had conviction. And if, instead of relying on the opinions of others, you were guided by your purpose. It is possible. And it's not about magic or superficial motivation. It's about reconditioning your mind with the right principles of success, principles of leadership, principles of growth, principles like the ones Napoleon Hill described in his masterpiece, Think and Grow Rich. He wasn't talking about wealth just in financial terms. He was talking about a wealth of life, a life led with intention, with clarity, with a defined purpose. And it all starts with a simple recognition. You are where you are because of the way you think. Change your way of thinking, and everything around you starts to change. Your results, your relationships, your opportunities, everything realigns when you decide to get out of the mental trap that limits you and take control. And now, I want to invite you to do this, to take the first real step, right here in the comment. My mind is my territory. Or, if you want to go further, I am in control of my mind and my destiny. These phrases are not just words thrown around. They are declarations. Declarations of someone who has decided to live consciously, determinedly, and aligned with a real purpose. I pay attention to every comment, and I will leave a heart for everyone who writes, because I know that those who comment commit, and those who commit begin to change. And if you feel that this video is speaking directly to you, if something inside you was activated today, like this video now, it shows that you are ready for more. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now, because here we continue this journey together, with more clarity, more strategy, and above all, with mental power. Your freedom starts here and continue in the next step. Let's go together. There is a silent but incredibly destructive mental error that Napoleon Hill identified as one of the most dangerous a person can make in life. And perhaps, right now, it is dominating your way of thinking. No matter how much you study about success, motivation, or personal development, if this error is still active within you, it will continue to sabotage your result, prevent you from growing, and worse, it will convince you that it is always someone else's fault. This error is thinking like a victim, and before you defend yourself by saying that this does not apply to you, I ask you, listen to me carefully, because the victim mind is cunning, subtle, and knows how to hide well behind justifications that seem logical. Napoleon Hill clearly stated that the only thing you truly have complete control over is your own mind, and when you give that control away to external factors, you are giving away all of your personal power along with it. The victim mentality is the one that makes you believe that you can't do it because you were born into the wrong family, in the wrong place, at the wrong time. It's the mentality that tells you that you would have gotten further if the people around you supported you more, if the economy were better, if that thing that hurt you in the past hadn't happened. And look, I'm not disregarding your pain. I know it's real. But as long as you focus on what's outside of you, you'll never access the true strength that's within you. Think about it. How many times have you started a project with enthusiasm, but as soon as the first difficulties arose, you found yourself saying things like, "It's not for me. The market is saturated. I don't have time. No one will help me." These are variations of victim thinking. They are expressions of a mind conditioned to look for someone to blame, not for solution. And this creates a vicious cycle. You try, you encounter a barrier, you get frustrated, you give up and justify yourself. Then, you try again. Repeat the pattern, and you feel like you're going around in circles. The feeling of helplessness begins to grow, and with it comes stagnation. And this stagnation, over time, becomes the norm. You get used to living below your potential. You start to accept a life that is so-so. And every time something or someone tries to remind you that you can do more, the defensive mind kicks in. It's easy to say when you have resources. You don't know what I've been through. It's not that simple. And again, the pattern repeats itself. It's a prison, a mental prison with open doors, but where the prisoner refuses to leave because he no longer believes he can live outside. This way of thinking is more common than you might think. And perhaps you have learned to live this way without realizing. The victim mentality feeds on small concessions, on small excuses that seem harmless. But over time, they become your default way of seeing the world. And the brain, a highly efficient machine, begins to reinforce this neural pathway. It becomes accustomed to seeking external justifications instead of looking within yourself for the necessary resources to act. You start living by reaction, not by decision. Instead of positioning yourself as the protagonist of your story, you start responding to life as a spectator, hoping that everything will get better. But things don't get better on their own. They never have. It's your mental positioning that changes reality, not the other way around. Napoleon Hill called this personal initiative and said that it was one of the most powerful qualities of those who want to achieve real success. Thinking like a victim keeps you from taking the initiative. It keeps you from taking action. It keeps you from clarity, responsibility, and, most importantly, from the power of choice. You start living as if you had no alternatives, and this is the biggest theft that the victim mind commits. It convinces you that you have no choice, when in fact, you have had one all along. You've just been trained not to see it. And perhaps, right now, you are remembering situations in which you did exactly that. Situations in which, out of fear, insecurity, or tiredness, you preferred to believe that it was impossible, instead of asking yourself, as could work. And if you feel like this description is speaking directly to you, don't feel bad. This isn't about judgment, it's about awakening. It's about identifying invisible patterns that are keeping you stuck and consciously deciding to break out of them. The good news is that the mind is trainable, and what has been conditioned can be reconditioned. But this requires vigilance, responsibility, and practice. It requires that you observe your own thoughts the way a leader observes the battle, with strategy, focus, and intentionality. You can no longer allow yourself to think in automatic mode. This mode was installed by circumstances that had no bearing on your success. Now, it is your turn to reprogram it, to create a new pattern, a new mental operating, a system aligned with purpose, leadership, and real growth. And yes, it is possible. It is more than possible. It is necessary. Because as long as you continue to feed the victim mind, you will continue to live below your true potential. You will continue to sabotage relationships, postpone projects, and convince yourself that it is okay to live in the almost. And you know that it is not okay. You feel it. There is something inside that knows that you were made for more, that you were born to achieve, to lead, to prosper with purpose. And I want to make you an invitation now, an invitation to mark this moment as a turning point in your way of thinking. If you feel that this content is truly touching you, write here in the comments, "I take charge of my mental power," or "The responsibility is mine, and this frees me." When you write this, you send a clear signal to your brain. We are changing. We are taking control. And I will be there, reading each comment. And yes, I will leave a heart in each one, because I know the value of those who consciously choose to step out of the victim role and take on the role of protagonist. And if this made sense to you, watch this video now. This simple gesture sends a powerful message to your brain. I am committed to my evolution. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now is the time. Subscribe. Because here, each piece of content you consume is a practical, strategic, and profound tool to develop your success mindset, your self-discipline, your personal leadership, and your inner freedom. Let's move forward together, because this journey is just beginning. If you've made it this far, it's because something inside you is screaming for change. And perhaps, for the first time in a long time, you're ready to listen to that voice that has been silenced by so many years of fear, doubt, and conditioned thinking. The good news is that there is a way out of this cycle of stagnation and victimhood. And that way out begins with a radical repositioning, the decision to think like you're the master of your destiny. And here, I'm not talking about a pretty or inspiring idea just to feel good. I'm talking about a deep, real, and practical principle, one of the pillars of Napoleon Hill's philosophy, definiteness of purpose. This concept is a watershed. It separates those who live by reaction from those who live by intention, those who survive by waiting for something to improve from those who build their own reality with clarity, focus, and action. Definite purpose is not just knowing what you want. It is deciding with unshakable firmness what you will achieve and adjusting all your thoughts, decisions, and behaviors towards it. It is declaring internally, "This is my path, and I will accept nothing less." While the victim mentality waits, the master of his own destiny moves. He understands that reacting to life is living on the pool defensive. It is waiting for the world to dictate the rules of the game and being content to try to survive them. Responding to life with awareness and intention is understanding that everything that happens around you is raw material for its construction. When you respond, you decide how you will act. You take the reins. You stop being a consequence of the world and become an active cause in your own universe. And this is where true freedom begins. The freedom to think independently, to make choices aligned with your purpose, to not bow to the noises of fear or doubt. Napoleon Hill said, that all successful people had a definite purpose and a positive obsession with achieving it. They didn't let life decide for them. They made decisions every day, even when they were scared, even when there were no guarantees, because they knew that clarity is power. And maybe this is the breaking point you needed, realizing that until now, you have been living by inertia. Maybe you were waiting for approval, a push, a confirmation from outside. But true strength comes when you stop waiting for the world to tell you what to do and start telling the world what you came here to do. That is the difference. That is the turning point. That is the source of your power. People without a defined purpose live like leaves in the wind. They go where others tell them to, do what others do, think what others think. And because of this, they reap the same results as always: frustration, stagnation, repetition. On the other hand, those who have a clear purpose live like those who build a bridge. Each action has direction. Each step has intention. Each challenge is absorbed and transformed into strength. And when the mind is aligned with this type of clarity, the impossible begins to lose its meaning, because now you no longer depend on external motivation. You move because you know where you want to go. But be careful. A defined purpose is not something that appears out of nowhere. It requires inner silence, self-reflection, and courage to look your truths in the face. You need to stop and ask yourself, what do I really want? What makes my heart race? What kind of impact do I want to leave on this world? These questions, when asked honestly, put you in touch with something much bigger than yourself, your mission. And when you find your purpose, when you decide that you're not going to accept a life of reactions anymore, you start living authentic. And authenticity is magnetic. People start to notice you. Opportunities start to come your way, and not because the universe suddenly got more generous, but because you changed the frequency of your mind. You stopped resisting and started creating. You stopped justifying and started building. You moved from the periphery of your life to the center, and that's when exactly everything starts to change. You don't have to have all the answers right now, but you do have to make the choice. You have to decide that starting today, you're going to start thinking like you own your story. You're going to start responding to life with intention. You're going to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with a defined purpose, because that's the foundation of mental, emotional, and financial freedom. Without that, everything else is an illusion. Without that, any technique or strategy becomes superficial because it lacks the foundation. But with that, you become unstoppable. And if you feel that this message is touching exactly where it needed to, make this moment a milestone. Write one of these phrases in the comment. My purpose is my guide, or from today on, I think like I own my life. These words have weight. They are seed, and by writing, you are planting a new pattern in your mind, a pattern that no longer accepts living on autopilot. And I will be here, reading each comment, because I know that those who write with intention act with clarity. And if you haven't liked the video yet, now is the time. It shows that you are committed, that you are in tune with this journey of self-development, growth mindset, focus on leadership, and true success. And if you are not yet part of the channel, subscribe now. This is where you will find the tools, ideas, and strength you need to continue growing with purpose, clarity, and power. Because this is your time. And the journey, my friend, is just beginning. Now that you understand the difference between living by reaction and living with intention, it's time to give real form to the transformation. It's no use just reflecting, understanding, and getting emotional. True change begins when you translate this understanding into action. And believe me, as complex as it may seem, there are simple but incredibly powerful steps that you can take starting today to correct this mental error that has been sabotaging your freedom, your results, and your inner peace. Let's talk about 3 practical attitudes that will help you reconfigure your mind and reposition your life definitively. The first step is to awaken your awareness. This may seem basic, but it is the basis of everything. Most people live on automatic mode. They complain, judge, point fingers, and don't even realize they are doing it. Maybe you have already gone through moments when things didn't go as expected, and without realizing it, you blamed the weather, other people, the economy, your parents, your partner, your boss, even the universe. This is common because we have been conditioned this way. But from now on, your role is different. Every time something frustrates you, stop for a moment and observe. Am I placing the responsibility outside of myself? Am I handing over my power to something or someone? This simple question can become the key to your life. Self-awareness is the first trigger for mental mastery. When you start observing yourself, you take control. And when you take control, you return to the center of your existence. The second step is to redirect your focus. And here comes one of the most ignored but most powerful aspects of the personal development process: conscious affirmation. This is not superficial self-help. This is applied neuroscience. When you repeat, with intention, empowering phrases such as, "I choose my destiny," "I am responsible for my result," "Nothing controls me, I control my mind," you are programming your brain to access a new response pattern. You are reconditioning your thought structure. You are nurturing a new, strong, solid identity, connected to who you really are. What you repeat to yourself daily shapes the way you think, feel, and act. So choose carefully what you are saying to yourself. Make it a practice. Post these affirmations in visible places. Say them out loud in the morning. Remind yourself throughout the day. It may feel strange at first, but over time, these words become beliefs, and beliefs shape behavior, and behaviors create results. If you want to change your results, change your inner words first. And the third step, perhaps the most overlooked but absolutely crucial, is to act with purpose. No matter how much you think positively or say powerful affirmation, if your actions remain misaligned with your greater purpose, nothing changes. True freedom, real success, the growth mindset you seek. All of these things come from consistency. It's the small daily decisions that make or break your destiny. These are choices like waking up earlier to meditate, saying no to distractions, prioritizing your health, investing time in learning, staying focused when everything around you calls for distraction. Every decision is a vote of confidence in your future. And perhaps you are asking yourself now, but where do I start? How do I align my actions with my purpose if I am not even completely sure what that purpose is? The answer is simple. Start with what you already know. Start by deciding that you will no longer act randomly. Choose from now on to act consciously. Before making any decision, ask yourself, will this bring me closer or further away from what I really want to build? This type of question creates clarity, and clarity generates power. You don't have to change everything overnight, but you do have to start. You have to break the cycle of hesitation. You have to stop waiting for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. What exists is the present moment, and it's here, right now, that you can take the first step. It doesn't matter how small it is. What matters is that it's aligned with the right direction, because it's direction, not speed, that determines where you'll end up. So, take a deep breath now and repeat internally with intention. I take control of my mind. I am the author of my story. And if you felt that something aligned within your heart at this moment, make this commitment. Write here in the comments one of these phrases. Today, I act with purpose, or I am responsible for my evolution. These words are more than a symbolic gesture. They are a starting point, a new chapter. And you know that I am here, following every step. I will read, and as always, I will leave a heart on each comment, because each word written with intention is a vote for real change. And of course, if this video is helping you, if it is bringing clarity, direction, and strength to your personal growth journey, click the like button now. This simple action reinforces to your brain that this type of content is important to you. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now. Here, each video is made with the purpose of giving you the mental, emotional, and strategic tools so that you can achieve your true freedom, build your inner leadership, and live in full harmony with your purpose. And believe me, there is still much more to come, because this transformation, which has already begun within you, is only expanding. Let's move forward together. The next step is just ahead. The most dangerous prison is the one built from the inside. It has no iron bars, no high walls, no visible padlocks. It is shaped by limiting belief, by old fears, by inherited ideas that have never been questioned. And the scariest thing is that often this prison doesn't even seem like a prison. It disguises itself as normality, as routine, as real life. But inside, you feel it. You know, there's something inside that screams for freedom, something that knows there's a bigger life waiting for you, but that's still dormant, waiting for you to make the decision to wake up. This key, this exit, this liberation, it is not somewhere else. It is not in someone else. It is not in a course, in a book, or in an ideal circumstance. It is with you all the time. It is in your mind. It is in your choice. It is in the moment when you decide, once and for all, that you will no longer live on autopilot, that you will no longer accept emotional, professional, or spiritual crumbs, that you will no longer settle for more or less, because you were born for the totally, for the complete, for the extraordinary. And this decision begins within. It begins when you understand that freedom is not the absence of challenges. Freedom is being able to choose your response to each challenge. It is being the master of your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. It is living with integrity between what you feel, what you believe, and what you do. This is personal leadership. This is human developed in essence. This is living with purpose. Napoleon Hill said that the first step to any achievement was definiteness of purpose, absolute clarity of purpose. But the second step was a firm decision. Without decision, there is no action. And without action, there is no transformation. You can have all the knowledge in the world. You can understand everything about growth mindset, discipline, leadership, and motivation. But if you don't decide to act, all of this becomes just accumulated information. So I ask you now directly, what choice do you need to make today to get out of this inner prison? What decision are you putting off? What truth are you avoiding facing? Because until you choose to break free, life will continue to offer you repeated versions of the same cycle, the same obstacles, the same patterns, the same feeling. But when you truly choose, with a firm heart, a clear mind, the game changes, and it changes fast. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it will be liberating. It will require courage. It will require facing discomfort. It will require letting go of parts of yourself that no longer fit who you are becoming. But that is the price of true freedom. The price of living a life of meaning, of authentic leadership, of purposeful success. You will have to choose between the comfort of mental imprisonment and the temporary discomfort of expansion. You will have to choose between repeating old patterns or creating new possibilities, between hiding behind excuses or standing up responsibly. You will have to choose between following the flow of others or creating your own path. Because in the end, it all comes down to this, a choice. And that's why I want you to mark this moment right now. Not for me, not for this video, but for you, for who you know you can be. Write in the comments, truthfully, firmly, with intention. I am the master of my destiny. This phrase has power. It is a declaration of freedom, a break with the past, a vote of confidence in your future. And I'm here, as always, reading every comment, leaving my heart in every word written with soul. Because I know what it means to take this step. I know how much it demands, and I also know how much it transforms. If you felt that this content spoke to you, if it awakened something that was dormant inside you, click the like button now. This simple gesture shows your brain that this is the right direction, that this is the kind of content that feeds your soul, that strengthens your mind, that drives your journey. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now. Here, each video is an invitation to expansion, a reminder that you are not alone, that you are part of a community of people who have decided to grow, evolve, and live with courage. And the journey continues, because freedom begins with a choice, but it's the daily action that makes it permanent. Let's go together, because your destiny is waiting for you, and you hold the key. If this video helped you develop your mindset, if at any point you felt stronger, clearer, more motivated to take control of your life, then this is the sign. Subscribe to the channel now. This is your space for growth, where each piece of content is designed to propel you towards the best version of yourself. And if you made it to the end, I want you to comment below. My mind is stronger. This shows that you are committed to your evolution. and I will go to the comments to leave my heart for you. Don't forget to like it right now. This simple gesture helps keep this content alive within you and allows more people to access this transformative message. And of course, click on the next video that is appearing on your screen. It is the natural continuation of this journey. Let's go further together.